Hi, I'm Dale Beaumont and welcome to another episode of Get Published TV. This is the only dedicated show on the internet to help you to write, publish and market your own best-selling book. Now, as you can see, we're on the blue couch today, and that means it's time to have another chat. And this time we're joined by special guest Andre Knott. Andre, thanks for joining us.
G'day, how are you?
Yeah, I'm very good.
Great.
Now, I'm looking forward to today. Andre is someone that I have huge respect for, and we're going to be talking about networking tips for authors. Now, Andre has been networking pretty much his whole life. He was a model, a catwalk model in fact, and then he's been involved in television, he's been involved as a port lecturer, and now as an art director and art auctioneer as well. And in the last 5 years, I hope he doesn't mind me telling you this, he's sold over $30 million worth of art, and he networks and he meets the most incredible people from all over the world. So I've invited him to come onto the show to share with us, authors and publishers out there, how we can build better networks and have better relationships in order to open up bigger opportunities so we can sell more books and reach more people. So I'm looking forward to our chat that we're going to have, and I just wanted to really again thank you for coming on the show.
Well, thank you for having me. I'll tell you, it's you really do make me sound like something else there. I have travelled for the last 11 years of my life, and throughout that I've been so fortunate to have met some amazing people from all aspects and genres of life, and also from all cultures, and I've been very, very fortunate as well to meet some great friends, and it's great to see you again. So I'm back in Australia for a while.
Great. Well, just very quickly, why don't you just fill in a few gaps in that introduction? You're originally from Melbourne in Australia, but again, you spend so much time all over the world. It's really difficult to put a finger on where you actually live.
Yeah, when people say, where do you live? I have a struggle actually telling them, I mean, I live out of a suitcase, I guess, or a hotel room. No, look, I tell you, I've come from Melbourne, and I'm an avid Brisbane Lions supporter, so I go up to Brisbane all the time as well. But I tell you, I've got this Australian background, but over the last decade I've lived in places like Japan, I've lived in Singapore, I've lived in Bangkok, I've lived in Istanbul, Turkey, Athens, Greece, Milan, I've lived in Paris, Florida as well as being out and about and mobilely traveling around the world on cruise ships and in other aspects of the tourism industry as well. So everything I've done has been pretty much media oriented, and I guess that ties in for our budding authors and those people who are experienced authors and are looking to publish as well from a networking perspective, and that's what we're here to talk about.
Yeah, that's really the topic of conversation, networking skills for authors. Now let me just set this up, because I remember Brian Tracy once saying that it's much easier to sell 10,000 books to one person than it is to sell one book to 10,000 people, right?
Sure is.
So if you can network with people and build those relationships, like I often get calls with people saying, Dale, how you doing? Have you got another 1,000 books that I want to buy, or another 5,000 sometimes as well? It's really great to get those phone calls, but they didn't just happen in that one moment. They happened from a relationship that I built maybe 12 months ago or 2 years ago or 5 years ago, and all of a sudden now that's coming back. So it's really like planting seeds in the ground, right? You just don't know when they're going to grow.
Well, I mean, in having known Dale for quite a while now, it's interesting to see that you are one of the better people or best people I've ever seen at actually being able to plant the seed and continually nurture its growth, And so those sales that you have on your books are not happening usually the day that you're actually presenting for the first time. They're happening as time goes by, and it's about being personal and being, we're going to talk about some of these concepts of how you've done it, I guess, and how we'd all recommend doing the networking side, because I don't think it's possible to be a fantastic artist. Like, I deal in the art world now, and I'm selling like $30 million over the last few years, and that's ramping up, and that will soon be about $30 million every year. What we're looking to do is what people think that artists are famous, who are snobby nose in the air types. They're not. It's in fact 95, even 99% of the best artists and highest selling artists in the world are also the best networkers and people who get out with the public more than those people who just sit in their studio and paint. So they think it's a marketing team behind them. Yeah, there's a bit of a marketing team, but it's all about that person being one with their people and really these concepts we're about to talk about. Yeah.
Absolutely. It's the same for authors, whether that be building relationships with your
Sure.
literary agent or with your publisher or with people at their television networks or with your fans, with the people that are reading your books. Networking and relationships is really the foundation of any successful business.
And I think too, because the authors, like artists and like maybe celebrities in the TV world as well, these people are very, they're celebrities to the people who are going to buy your books. You are a celebrity, and that's why they want your signature on the book, and that's why they, want to be able to tell their friends about that as well. I mean, that is why it's so important, because you are now a celebrity. Even if you weren't beforehand, you are now. If you're an author, so that's good.
Yeah. Now we've just sat down and you've put down 6 tips here, 6 networking tips for authors. So we're going to go through these kind of very, very quickly. Let's go through number 1. Number 1 is be personal. So why is that so important?
Well, I think being personable is all about, it's like those first impressions things that you hear about in just about every business meeting or every first interview you have for a job. I mean, everyone's done that, right? It's about creating that first impression in the first 15 seconds of meeting people.
And what are some of the things that you can do to create that great first impression?
Look, I think the best first impression is to smile. I mean, a big cheesy grin. I mean, it sounds cheesy and it sounds contrived, but it's not. I mean, if you mean it, it's very real. And if you are a happy person, usually anyway, which I'm sure most of our people watching are, they're there with the people. A big handshake, a very personable hello. I mean, that's really what it is. And just in every aspect of what they do within their whole career, to be personable with not just the people who are potentially buying their product, but the people who are supporting and helping them too. And it's all about, I think the first thing is to be personable with the people.
Be personal, and when you do that, you just stand out from everybody else, because it's very rare, I find, as someone that does greet you with a smile and has a firm handshake and that's enthusiastic about being around you.
Well, sometimes people are that because they're acting that, but if they're not really being that, it'll be noticed and seen, and they'll quickly be found out. So make it a part of your repertoire. Be that way in general, and you'll find it flowing through into your book sales as time goes by.
Beautiful. All right, number 2 is be interested. Let's talk about that.
Well, yeah, I think this is important because we talk about being interested. Everyone's interested in what they are doing. You're interested in selling your books, and you're interested in your books as well. I'm interested in selling art. We're all interested in what we're doing. I think what we have to talk about right here is being interested in the other person. The person standing in front of you, because at the end of the day, it's all about them. It's not about you. It's about them being in touch with you and feeling that personal touch with you, so that they will want to go further with this potential purchase, or telling their friends about it, or marketing it further to other people.
Because if you read any sales books, the old sales books, they'll tell you about the ABC. They'll always be closing.
Remember that movie?
Yeah, Glengarry Glen Ross.
Oh my gosh, Alec Baldwin. Always be closing. Always be closing. Sign on the line, which is dotting. That sort of stuff. Yeah, I think we ought to change that. Yeah, let's call it NBC.
What's that?
Never be closing.
Never be closing. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, of course you want to close sales here and there, but to do it in a way that is real and it's true and it's what you're about anyway. Because if you're writing a book, I'm sure you're real about the people who are reading your books. You care about them, especially if it's an instructional type book. So never truly be just closing. Understand that the sale could come from years of, or maybe months or weeks or days and sometimes years of preparation in building people up, and it's about what you do all the time and being interested in those people.
And what I've found in almost every instance, when I'm really interested in other people, then it's like if you give first, people then want to give back. Then they want to know more about you, and they say,
Truly.
wow, look, I've spoken so much about myself the last 10 minutes. Tell me about you. Like, where did you grow up? What have you done? Tell me about these books.
Yeah,
and they're really, really enthusiastic.
It's funny when we first met. I think one of the first things I said to Dale was, and he was interested in art, was, do you want to just go get a beer? Let's have a chat. Rather than well, look at this artwork and what do you think about the virtues of that? I think it's about being interested in that person and understanding what that's all about.
Absolutely. Let's move on to number 3. Be open. What does that mean for you?
Well, I think it's being open to, because typically if people are going to be publishing books, Like in my world, I've been dealing with tons of different cultures, and I mean, art speaks volumes to so many different people from all over the world.
People from Russia, people from Asia, people from South America, Africa, the whole world.
So get interested in other cultures. Get interested. I mean, they say that a few words in a few different languages goes a long way with those cultures. You know,
Definitely.
like, you know, sayonara, you know, konnichiwa in Japanese. You know, I mean, you know, hola in Spanish. I don't know. Just get you know, with those people so that they understand a bit about how much you care about their culture. It opens up the lines of communication and conversation. But obviously age differences as well. I mean, trying to break down the barriers of whatever's in front of you, like the people come from different backgrounds, different styles of living, and you know, trying to be as much a chameleon as possible, and showing that you have a lot of backgrounds and different things to be able to engage them. Show them that you're interested. It's going back to being personal and being interested. Be open with the people as well, from whatever background they come from.
And respect people from their differences, and learn to appreciate it.
Don't show them too much bias toward anything either. I mean, because you know, you've got to be a chameleon in this way.
Beautiful. All right, number 4 is about being present.
Yeah.
So what does that mean? It could be interpreted many ways, but what does it mean for you?
Well, think about it. when you come and do a presentation, when you're actually presenting to an audience. I mean, what is the most important thing for you there?
I suppose just connecting with those audience and trying to be in the moment,
right?
Not like, you know, what has happened 2 hours before, what's
exactly.
going to happen 2 hours
Exactly.
after.
So that's what it's all about. It's about being right there in the moment with the people, so they know you're interested about them, not about what you were thinking about 2 hours ago or the group that you were presenting to yesterday. It's about being present with your audience, and that audience is going to change, whether it's five people in the room right here at one time. You might be meeting with 5, I don't know, bishops. You know, you're wanting to present to them. You're going to present to them a lot differently to 5 people who are from a bohemian district. You know, I mean, it depends whom you're presenting to. Be present with the audience that you've got. I'm saying, yeah.
And the other sort of sub point there is about sort of being present in the way of showing up to events and being
Woody Allen.
Opportunities. Yeah.
Woody Allen. 80% of all success is just showing up. I mean, I know it was said tongue in cheek, but I mean, a lot of it is that. Being right there in the moment, on time, with the people that you're dealing with, and knowing your audience. So show up, ready to act, ready to play, ready to be a part of what you're presenting.
And just on a personal note with regards to networking opportunities, you know, oftentimes like we're all busy, we all don't have a lot of time, and there may be an opportunity to see like 100 or maybe 300 new people. Maybe it's a seminar and there's some networking before and after.
Yep.
And I think to myself, well, should I really go? Like there's so many other things that I could be doing.
Yep.
But in the end of the day, I say, look, I'm going to go, and at the end, I'm so glad that I did, because I've met maybe 5 or 6 great people, and people that actually have then gone on and ordered lots of books or booked me for other speaking engagements, and that's been a lot more productive than clearing an extra 50 emails.
Sure.
You know?
And I think it's important. You and I, we are presenters for a living. I mean, that's what we do. It's what we'll continue to do all throughout our careers. Not everyone is a public speaker, and I know it's one of the hardest things for people to get up and do. I would recommend that everyone try it, at least try it, get into a local Toastmasters or something like that, where they are practicing public speaking as often as possible. But knowing that it's not everyone's forte, and that's fine, you know, it means about being one with the people who you're with. You know, it doesn't mean necessarily getting up in front of an audience and being present with everyone like this.
The person sitting next to you, or it could be someone
could be on the aeroplane, could be, you know, in the airport lounge. How many times you sat in an airport
waiting for
lounge?
a coffee, whatever it is.
You meet some of the most amazing people around the world just in those everyday events. So,
beautiful.
I mean, they could be your next maven who then goes and talks about your product to so many other people. It does never know.
And number 5 you got here is follow up.
You quite simply follow up.
Yeah.
I mean, I deal in real estate as well, and you know, I couldn't tell you how many people, how many times agents have come to me, and I've asked them, you know, it might even be a banal question to them. It might be, you know, what is the square footage on that property? What is the, you know, the frontage on that property, or whatever it might be. So I can compare and do some comparisons. They say, I'll get back to you. What's your phone number? Okay, here it is. You know, I could count on one hand or 2 hands how many have actually ever truly called me back from those. I usually have to go chasing them up. So, I mean, I can't tell you, and who do I buy from? The people who call me back. I mean, that's what happens. And so it's about being, if you show the follow-up to the people who you've dealt with, what it means is that everything you did on that day to start with was sincere, and it was real, and it wasn't just trying to make a sale, or trying to get to the next person, or whatever it might be. You've got to follow up and show these people that you're interested, that you're being personal, that you're open to deal with them, that you're present in the scenario, and you want to continue that opportunity with them, and they matter. That's what it's
And
about.
with that follow-up process as well, we all hear about the what we call the high-tech ways to follow up, like just adding people to an email list and staying in touch with a newsletter, or maybe through Facebook and Twitter, and all that is great. It's better than doing nothing at all. But one of the things that's impressed me most about your style is how high touch you are with your follow-up. So tell me about that.
No, look, I think it's just what we've been talking about there. Remember that what you've been doing with these people to open up the channels of communication has been handshakes, smiles, talking to them one-on-one as much as possible. I think in the follow-up, it's always great to send physical forms of communication. Literally handwritten letters sometimes may sound like old hat, but I'll tell you what, it still means a lot to a lot of people. And maybe following up with a couple of forms. Maybe it's an email and a handwritten letter. Maybe it's an email or a Twitter and it's a
phone call.
A phone call. Try to do one of each. You might touch both types of people in that way as well. So I think it's very, very important, because you're in a touchy-feely type environment as an author anyway, that the type of people who are going to be communicating with you usually, and may even be buying from you, are those types of people as well. So
beautiful.
Get involved and do that.
So number 5 was follow-up. Number 6 is repeat.
Oh look, repetition is the mother of skill. Who said that?
Tony Robbins,
my gosh, and a wonderful motivational speaker. But repeat as often as possible, and this will become this whole process, steps 1 to 5. You won't think of them as steps 1 to 5 anymore. They'll just be a part of your everyday thing and everything you do. And so you can't help but show that you're real when everything's real. And so that's why you repeat. You keep going.
And I'm sure you found some of the best relationships that you have today weren't built in a day. They happened over months or years. And
Rome wasn't built in a day, hey?
Exactly.
Cliche again and again. No, that's exactly right. And I think oftentimes the best, trust is only built over a period of time. Anyone who goes into things that start quickly usually end quickly in life, no matter what it is. So I think it's important that people understand that they must show that they're fully interested a few times over to establish the trust, and then they call up and make that 1,000 book order, whatever it might be. You're selling 1,000 books at a time right now. Sometimes in the near future it'll be 5,000, then it'll be 10,000, then it'll be 100,000, because these people now trust and believe in your process and everything that you're about.
Beautiful. All right, so let's make this really practical now. What is the next step for people listening? How can they take this information and put it into a practical sense?
Well, look, I'd say tell them to challenge themselves. Maybe make it the 3-month challenge or the 90-day challenge. Maybe to get 5 or 10 people who are not necessarily close to you, who you want to be close to. You pick them out of different environments, or you sift through the contacts and ask yourself who would they know, and even ask them who do they know, so that you can get involved in those people and take action. Get involved with those people and employ some of these processes that we've been talking about right here.
And I know one of the things that we've spoken about before is when you're meeting people, or trying to meet people, it's not about, well, what can I get from this person, right? It's not about, well, that person can give me a break and this person can make me famous. It's about asking yourself, well, what can I actually give? What can I do for you? What can I offer you? I tell you what, once people get to a level of I guess success in life, oftentimes that's when they start to feel as if they should give back. I think people should start that from the very get-go, and be givers and philanthropic thinkers, at least from the very beginning. And that once they feel like they have it, in their hands, they then have it and they can give it, and just give everything you can. Be open to give and to pass on and pay it forward, so to speak. I think they're all very happy, feel-good type attitudes, but I think they work. Yeah, and one of the best pieces of advice that I've got in the last couple of months was someone said, a lot of people are so focused on making money, but making money is always in direct proportion to the amount of value that you give to the marketplace.
Right.
And so never focus on making more money, focus on giving more value,
Yeah.
and then the money will come.
Right.
So it's about how
Right.
you can enrich other people.
Exactly, because everyone wants to make a bit more money. I know that, and I understand that, and
Or
that's
sell books or whatever it is.
Look at what you're able to give and what you're able to give in the books that you've got, and what sort of value you're offering. Because when you're offering value, the money will flow. There's no doubt about it.
Absolutely. So there's been some great tips here. You might want to go back, and I hope you've been taking notes throughout it. Otherwise, just quickly, let's go through them one at a time. Number 1 was be personal. Number 2 was be interested. Number 3, be open. Number 4, be present. Number 5, follow up. And number 6, repeat.
Repeat again.
Repeat. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thanks so much for coming on the show and to share what you actually do, and you live and breathe this stuff. So it's great that you're able to to be a real spokesperson here and someone to share from personal experience.
Sure. Networking is about being with the people and enjoying being with the people and showing them that you care about the people. So, it's just about getting out there. So get out there, enjoy it.
Beautiful. And leave us a comment if you're on getpublishedtv.com. We'd love to hear from you. Andre's clearly a very successful guy, but I will make sure that all those comments get sent through to him. So if you want to say a personal thank you or you want to ask a question, just please leave it in the comment section on Get Published TV. It's been a pleasure having your company, and make sure you join us again on another episode of Get Published TV. Thanks again, Andre.
Great to see you again.
Thank you.
Bye now.